Hi, my name's Steve. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about some of the health challenges I've had in the past and how I overcame them. And I'm also going to relate it back to energy and what I learned from the experience. So let me start with a bit of a background on this challenge I was having. So I've had vertigo, which is like these dizzy spells, for about 20 years of my life. One time I had it so bad that this was a few years ago, but I was off work for a month, about 3 weeks. Actually felt bad. I was off for 3 weeks, and I felt so bad being off for so long because I didn't know what the hell was going on, and I couldn't walk, I couldn't drive. I remember I'd get up and I'd try to like go and do something, and I'd almost fall. I couldn't eat because I felt like I was gonna get sick. One of my virtual assistants, actually, her aunt passed away from vertigo because she couldn't eat and she was dehydrated, and I think she eventually died from a lack of nutrition. Because you get these dizzy spells as soon as you eat something, you want to throw it up, so you can't eat. And so I've tried everything under the sun over the years, and last year, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I discovered from it. So last year, what happened was I had gotten a spell, and my wife had mentioned to me, you know, she started drinking celery juice, said you might want to, drink it. And I said no, okay? And this is where the energy comes in. I'm going to talk about that. But then this year, right after Christmas, so I did a little more research, started to figure out what celery juice was doing for my wife, and then I got a spell in late December, early January. And this is what's interesting. I always get a vertigo spell, and I noticed this pattern about 3 times, the last 3 times I got it. After a family event or when I'm eating not the best foods, and usually I'm eating gluten, eggs, maybe dairy. Dairy's not usually a big deal for me, but it's the eggs and the gluten, they kill me. And I'll explain what I learned. So in January this year, so what, 10 months ago, I actually got a spell. It wasn't too bad, but I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do much. I could barely even lift my head to watch TV. I could barely move my head. It was really bad. So my wife's like, you might want to, try some celery juice. And I was like, I hate not being able to, I'm totally demobilized. Like if you've ever had vertigo, it's like you're totally demobilized. It's like being in a wheelchair. You can't do anything. You can't drive. You can't walk around. It's hard to even walk if you get it really bad. So anyways, long story short is I took her up on it. And the first day I did the celery juice, I noticed, like, let's say I woke up and dizziness was like a 10 out of 10 being the worst I've ever had it, throwing up, can't walk, can't do anything, just have to lie in bed. And then 1 being I'm normal. I had it maybe an 8 out of 10, so it was pretty bad. Had the celery juice, and maybe after like a few hours, I felt like a 7 to 10. Not like a big change, but enough that I was like, okay, I guess it's doing something, but still not real, like having my doubts, right? The next day, I went into a deep meditation, and I went into a healing meditation, which is basically I felt what it would feel like to be like totally healthy. I was playing hockey, I was running, I was active, I was moving around and feeling, just dynamic and alive. I did that for like an hour in the morning. Then I took the celery juice the second day, and it went from a 7 out of 10 later at that day, that evening, to about a 2 out of 10. And then, a few days later, it was completely gone. More celery juice and went away. Then in February, a month later, I got it again. Again, I was eating crap, gluten, Doritos. I'm a big fan. I love Doritos. I love my Doritos, right? So it's got gluten in there. And I think there was something else, some baking I had that had egg in it. And it's like I went to bed Friday, totally fine. I woke up Saturday morning, like 9 out of 10 vertigo. I couldn't even walk to the living room. So my wife's like, want some celery juice? I told me, yeah, I want some celery juice. But I did my meditation first thing in the morning again. And I was just like feeling as if I was totally healthy. So I'm like, my thoughts and my feelings are aligned. And then I take the action, and I could barely drink the juice. She gave me, I think, 16 ounces. It took me an hour to drink. Every time I took a drink, I'm almost like threw it up because I was so dizzy, right? But I got through that hour. And my vertigo went from like a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, to a 2 out of 10 within an hour after drinking the celery juice. And 2 days later, I went for like a 3, 4, 5 mile run. Okay, so a good, decent run, like something I would do, a couple times a week. Totally healed. And so I've been talking to more people about this because I know a lot of people that suffer from vertigo, or people have been asking me about it. And what I discovered is that, I'll talk about the energy side of it in a minute, but what I discovered is that when we eat things like gluten and egg, specifically my body type, what happens is it's feeding the viruses that are in my body. It's like food for them, the gluten and the egg. And what happens is that when I keep feeding them during the week, and then I get to the end of the week, and then I go to sleep, I wake up in the morning, those viruses have gotten to such a level that they've attacked my vagus nerve. This is my understanding of how it works. Don't quote me on this. Do your own research. But if you want to check this out into more depth, Google Anthony Williams, the medical medium. But they had these viruses, because I'm feeding them with gluten and egg. They're attacking my vagus nerve, and it immobilizes me. It totally affects my nervous system. I can't move. I can't do anything. And the one time I got it, like I mentioned in the beginning, it was so bad. I had it for a month. It was one morning I woke up. I was just so fed up with it. I woke up. I couldn't do anything again. Nothing. Couldn't even work because I can't sit up. I can't do anything. That I was like, I'd contemplated and thought about maybe committing suicide. I didn't. It was the only time in my life where I had thoughts of suicide. And it was probably for like an hour that morning. And then I waved it off. I was like, no, I'm going to get through this. And so what I can tell you is that I'm a big believer in now that if I do want to cheat and eat egg or gluten, I'm going to have either celery juice or something like it to help it purge those. Remember, not necessarily purging the virus, you're purging the food that the virus eats out of your body. And then, of course, the virus dies as well. And then the vagus nerve goes back to normal. Your body's back in equilibrium, and then you're back in the swing of things. Now, let me talk to you about, from an energetic standpoint, what I learned from this. So I want you to think of like your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions as amplitudes of energy, okay? And the amount of energy carried by a wave, right? We're all fields of possibility. We're all energy. We're all fields of possibility. Your heart sends out a wave. That amount of energy that's carried on that wave is related to the amplitude of the wave. So the amplitude of the energy, the higher the amplitude, the higher the energy, okay, for the frequency that it's carrying. So let's say that you're carrying, I'm going to use a different color here. Green is good too. Let's say that, actually take these out. Let's say that you're you're having thoughts of healing, and that carries a frequency, right? And let's call that frequency, 5 hertz. And so the amplitude of those thoughts are carrying thoughts of healing. Okay, so these are healing thoughts, that frequency. Non-healing thoughts would be a different frequency with a different amplitude of energy that doesn't allow you to get the information to heal. So that's the non-healing in the red, blue's healing. Okay, let's focus on the healing frequency. So you have this healing frequency of thoughts, and then you get another healing frequency of feelings, and then a healing frequency of actions. Now here's the important part. The amplitude of a thought is less than the amplitude of a feeling, which is less than the amplitude of an action. Meaning, the amount of energy carried in a thought is less than the amount of energy carried in a feeling, which is less than the amount of energy carried in an action. Now, when I used to do my healing meditation, when I used to get the vertigo, what I would do is I would think and I would feel as if I felt health. But when my wife came to me the first time and said, you might want to try the celery juice, I didn't take the action. And therefore, I didn't experience the full healing, and I never realized the full potential of my wellness in getting back into equilibrium. But this year, for some reason, I was doing this, and then I got to this, and I'm like, yeah, I will do that. I'm open to it. And that's when the healing came. Okay? So what I'm saying is, a lot of us have thoughts and feelings of things, but we never take actions, and because of that, we don't get the outcome we want. Okay? So learning number one is that the amount of energy that's carried by a wave is related to the amplitude of the wave. And thoughts have a lower amplitude than feelings, which have a lower amplitude than actions. This has the highest amplitude of energy, believe it or not. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because a couple reasons. One, because it was the difference between me. It's back on. It was the difference between me healing and not healing, and that's a big deal. But more importantly, you know how you're hearing people say this right now, like trust the plan? Trust the plan is like, I want you to meditate, I want you to do yoga and feel great, but don't take any action. And that's bullshit, because you have to take action, because that has the highest amplitude of energy. If you're not doing this, you're not going to crystallize, materialize the ether around you into physical manifestation, healing, whatever it is that you want. Okay? So what I can tell you is that I've learned a lot from actually drinking celery juice. It's helped me. It gave me the confidence. We're in the US now, so we're going to be here for another probably 4 or 6 months. It's given me the confidence to come here, knowing that I could have vertigo again, but I need to work. So I can't not, like I got a business to run, so I can't not do that. I can't take a month off. I mean, I could, I guess, if I had to, but it's not ideal. And the reason it's not ideal is because not only does it affect us financially, it affects me, my well-being. So from what I understood, I'm suggesting that you go and research Anthony Williams, the medical medium, is that celery juice eliminates gluten, egg, and a couple other things, but those are the big ones for me and my body, from the body, and with that, pulls the food source from the viruses that are attacking the vagus nerve, which affects you and gives you the vertigo or the dizziness. Now, I'm sure this is true for 100 or 1,000 other diseases that we're not aware of, but I suggest you go research him. That's not what I do. I'm not a medical expert. I'm just sharing my experience and the results I got. One other thing I will mention is, because I'm an engineer by training, when I found out that the viruses were eating the egg that was stored in my body somewhere in order to flourish and grow in my body, creating more disease, I did some research. And I found out that the Center of Disease and Control, or Control and Disease, whatever it's called, the Center of Disease and Control, or Control of Disease, has been using eggs since the 1970s to grow viruses and create vaccines, not the current ones that they're using now, but different types. So it makes sense that the eggs that are in our body actually are food for the viruses, and the Center of Disease and Control has been using eggs since the 1970s, to actually help viruses flourish. So if it's in your body or it's in a petri dish, does it make a difference? It's eggs. So anyways, long story short is, I sometimes do like to eat those things because there's some baking that I like to eat, but now I have a foolproof way to make sure that I'm back into equilibrium, to my full wellness, my full vitality, without compromising anything and compromising my energy. Okay? So I hope you got a ton out of this video. If you want, you have any questions about what I shared, post them below. I can also resource and link out to different things and resources such as Anthony Williams or other things that my wife has in her resources that have been really helpful to my well-being. Okay, awesome. My name's Steve. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. Please give it a share. If you want to share it with someone you care about and you think they'll be beneficial to them. Also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And I've got a new book coming out early next year called The 7-Day Manifestation Experiment, How You Create Your World. If you want to get on the waiting list, I'm going to give you my quantum manifestation video training for free. You get 1 video a week teaching you quantum manifestation. There's a link down below. Click on that. It'll bring you to the waiting list for the book, and you can enter your information and get the free videos. Thanks for watching. My name's Steve, and we'll talk to you next time.